Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's nice to be back.
Oh, it's so good to see you again, my friend.
It is good to be seen outside of where I have been. I have been holed up in my house for it feels like a month now.
I think it's been a little over a month, it seems, since I've seen you anyway.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, I hate that for you. And not that Mr. Taylor did anything wrong. He was a great co-host.
No,
glad to have him back anytime.
I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I sit there as soon as it dropped, I get the notification through Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, new episode!" So me and Mom sat there in the living room and listened to it in its entirety right then. I was like, "He did great. Good job. Thank you, Mr. Taylor."
Yeah, thank you, sir, for coming and filling in and helping me out. And but it is good to have you back. I've missed seeing you, getting to hang out. So
I have missed being here. Trust me. It has been it's been a rough few weeks though. I mean, very weird few weeks.
It has.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you guys want to get into, or you want to get into it, but
as much as you want.
Well,
okay.
So let me just say how weird it was to the whole reason. I went in. We were working on the house, of course, and I thought, I've pulled a muscle in my leg. Because it's just that sore, achy yuck. I was like, man, and it just kind of ached and hurt. And I was like, okay, so this sucks. So I would ice it and all that kind of stuff, just like you would normally a pulled muscle or whatever. And so I was noticing, though, that every time that I move over there, I'm getting cut by something, because everything on that job site is sharp, it seems like, between the bolts or the pieces of wood that's been cut or a nail over here or everything is sharp. And I was like, I really probably need to go get a tetanus shot, because it's been a while since I've had one, and I'd hate to get tetanus off of some rusty piece of metal or something over here. So I was like, I'm going to go do that. Mom, Penelope, Ashley, all sick at the house. They all needed antibiotics because they had this upper respiratory thing going on. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I'll just go with you guys over to the doctor, because they had already booked a family event to go. And I was like, I'll just go with you guys and see if they can just pop me with a Tdap real quick, And and I was like, my tetanus will be done. Everything will be good to go. So when I get there, I was like, can you hit me with a tetanus shot? I said, they all need antibiotics. I know that. And he's like, yeah, that's no problem. So he calls the nurse. He's like, go pull up a tetanus, and all that. And I was like, awesome. So I'll get all my stuff done right here. And he's like, anything else going on with you? And I'm like, no, not really. I was like, I've got this ache in my leg that just won't go away. It's been there for a week and a half now. I was like, and I had taken some medication that he had prescribed to me before. And I was like, you want me to just continue that because it had helped? And he was like, yeah, just continue that. And my wife's like, no, you need to stand up and let him take a look at your leg. And I was like, okay. So when I stood up, evidently my calf was swollen. And he's like, get back in here after lunch. You have to be back in here. And I'm like, why? He's like, you may have a blood clot, and that's not good. And I was like, okay. So came back in. He scheduled me an ultrasound that afternoon. Went and got the ultrasound, and I didn't leave the hospital. They were like, there's a bed upstairs for you. And I was like,
so they did the ultrasound.
They did the ultrasound.
Were you pregnant?
No, I was not pregnant, but there was definitely a foreign object in there.
Yeah, see, I did not know that they use those for anything else.
Oh yeah, they do that for mapping veins. They do it for looking for any kind of an abnormal growth, like tumors, things like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they can use basically anything that it can image, below the surface without having to do MRI or CT scan or something like that. It's just a lot less intrusive and a lot less expensive as well.
Okay.
So yeah, they identified they had a little blood clot behind my right knee, and they were like, yep, go upstairs. You're going to lay around for a while. So went upstairs. They put me on medication, and I've been medicated since. And then ankle started hurting again, more pain. And
same leg or
same leg.
Okay.
But the pain was a little lower, so went back, got a second ultrasound. And they found a second clot, and I was like, my God, what's going on? So
there was still the other. So you had
evidently these things take weeks to possibly even a month or two to dissolve, to clear.
Oh wow, okay. I never would have realized.
Yeah, the medication that they put you on, the warfarin, Coumadin, blood thinner type medication,
Right.
It doesn't actually break the clot down. It's an anticoagulant, so you don't clot more.
Okay. So
And
it keeps
then-
the platelets from sticking to
Yeah.
the existing clot.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and then your body slowly breaks down the clot over time. And realistically, like I've not really had any pain from the clots, for a week and a half.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So, but now I guess where I've been favoring that leg though, I've got my knee all messed up. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know, probably the same old that I always have. I'm telling you what, dude, 40 sucks. I'm like right there. It's like just a few days away, and I don't know. I guess the locomotive on the front has 40 on that's its number or something. Man, it ran my butt over.
Is that what the cattle guard says?
40? Yeah, I guess, man. It rolled me, and it was one of those things. I've always said anybody that, and I apologize to anybody out there that's been hit by a train. If you're still alive, thank God you're still with us. But anybody that's gotten hit by a train, you can step, 5 feet in one direction or the other, and you're out of the way typically.
Most of the time.
I didn't see this one coming. I was one of those guys that's standing on the track and was like, holy crap.
Were you reading your text messages?
I must have been. It was too much screen time. But I'm so glad to be back. So glad to be back. So
Yeah,
and
definitely good to have you back.
Should be able to start back to work here in the next couple of days. I've got another doctor's appointment to go to, and one thing that sucks, they really, and I mean, for those of you, I know you can't see in the studio here, I'm cringing just thinking about it. So they started me on one of the new designer medications, the ones that you see on television. It's called Eliquis.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of it's expensive, very expensive, like $500 for a prescription of it. And then after insurance, it's still pretty high. And they were like, we can either go that direction and you just take these, twice a day and everything's going to be good to go. Or
it'll clear your clots up, but it may cause your head to fill with helium or...
Yeah, my hands feel just like balloons or something.
Yeah.
Just felt like two balloons. So anyway, they said you can take this medication and it should everything should be good to go, or we can do it the old school way, which is heparin, which is a shot, and then you have to take the heparin shots until the Coumadin, which is warfarin, it's a blood thinner, kicks in, because it takes it a few days to build up in your system. So when I went to the hematologist, by the way, 18 vials of blood that person drew, I fed the vampire well that day. It was unreal. When I went to the hematologist, they were like, okay, so this medication has not been clinically tested for your situation. So I was like, okay. They said, and she says, so the only thing that we know 100% for sure works is warfarin. And I was like, okay, so do I need to switch? And she was like, I'll leave that up to you and your doctor. So when I spoke with my doctor, he was like, yeah, let's go ahead and switch you over. I'll go ahead and call in everything and get you set up. And I was like, okay. So when I go to pick it up, what do I have? 14 syringes full of Lovenox, which is heparin.
Okay.
And then a bottle of pills of warfarin. And I'm like, so am I giving these shots to like my dog? Or what's what's happening here? And he's like, oh no, you have to give yourself an injection twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And I'm like, oh no, you don't understand, sir. You can cut my head off, but do not make me give myself a shot. No needles, none, ever.
You just gave 27 pints of blood.
If somebody else is doing it, no problem.
Well,
that's fine. You come in here and you
let
can
Penelope
hit me.
give you the shot. It'll be fine.
Thing is nobody in my house, no one in my home will even they look at him and they cringe. And I'm like, yeah. So Saturday morning, I get all this stuff Friday evening, like 7 o'clock. So luckily my next door neighbor is a nurse. And I'm like, I get up, it's like 8:30, 8:45, 9. And I'm like, on Saturday morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I went in there and got one. I pulled the little cap off, saw the little needle there, and was like, yeah, I even
it's just a tiny little prick.
It is. And it was like, the little needle is only like 3/4 of an inch, tiny little thing.
Little bitty thing.
As thin as a hair.
Yeah, you never even feel it.
And then, like, I even got the little alcohol and did the whole thing on my stomach because you give it.
You got to do it in the abdomen?
You got to do it in the abdomen. Like, and the Lovenox, they say you give it in the love handle, Lovenox, you know. Oh. And I was like, okay. So
it's kind of like an insulin injection.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty much exactly like an insulin injection. 100 cc, 100, whatever it is, it's in the little tube. So anyway, I send my neighbor a text. Hey, you wouldn't want to give me a shot or two, would you? No reply. And I'm like... Okay. Can I do this?
Yeah, just close your eyes.
No, I don't want to close my eyes and give myself an injection. So I pinch up, the abdomen area because they say you pinch and and I'm like, oh, and I mean it took me forever, and then finally I went, and just the feel of the resistance of the needle going in and all that, and then giving the shot itself. And I was like, dude, I kid you not, I was lightheaded. I was woozy. I was like, I gotta sit down somewhere because I can't do this. I was like, I broke out in cold sweats. I was like, no. So when I sit down, I pick my phone back up and I'm like, never mind about the shot. I went ahead and grew up hair and gave myself a shot. And like her reply was, oh, I'm sorry. I was downstairs. I didn't get your text. Good job, by the way. I'm like, so since then, so that was what, Saturday? I've given 2 Saturday. I guess what, I guess it was 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, and then 1 this morning. So I guess I got them on Thursday night.
So you're getting better at it?
I don't want to say I'm getting better at it, but it's not as bad as it was. The feel of the needle, like the resistance of it. That's it. And then here's the thing: like getting a shot doesn't bother me. I can get a shot all day long. You give the nurse a syringe; she can play darts on me. I don't care. I know that it's coming, and I know when it's going to hit. With a nurse, it's just. I don't know. I'm not watching, so I don't know when she's going to hit me. It's just there and it's done. But right. I know. I know, and I'm anticipating, and it's just, just makes me cringe all over.
Yeah. So I used to have a pretty big fear of needles, but like 14 years of allergy shots twice a week, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, the wife gets those as well. She gets them a couple of times a week in both arms.
And she still
she can't
terrified of needles?
She doesn't. She will not give a shot. Heck no. Yeah.
Cowards.
No. Maybe, but I don't like it.
Maybe you're too empathetic. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe I don't know.
I think I could stab you. I don't think it bothered me a bit.
Maybe you want to come over after a while. You want to come over after a while and hit me. I do have to say this though. The pharmacist said I was going to be like bruised. Where
right?
He's like, because it's a blood thinner, so it's it's going to bruise. I'm not bruised. I don't know if that means I've got too much cushion down there, in the abs.
Well, maybe it just takes a while for it to.
Maybe, but yeah, I was like, so far, I don't know if it's. I don't know. Even like the places where I've given it, there's a couple little red spots, and that's it. And I was like,
that's good.
I've done okay, I guess, with it.
That's good. So, how long until you find out success rate or whatever? Like, when do you go back?
I go tomorrow. Today's Sunday, of course. I go tomorrow and go for another blood test just to check to see as far as the consistency, because they do this thing called an INR check, which checks the how thin your blood is or how the platelets are
like
sticking.
The clotting factor or whatever.
Clotting factor. So I have to have that test done tomorrow. I think they're going to take another look at my. I don't know if they're going to do another ultrasound tomorrow. They may do another ultrasound. They're just basically just following up and checking. I definitely have another ultrasound on the 15th of September, and another. Trip to the hematologist on the 17th. So
like a month from now.
About a month from now. Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
Until that time, though, yay! I'm on the mend.
That's good.
I'm back.
That's good. We're glad to have you.
I'm glad to be back. And I have spent so much time on my phone and watching like TV and things like that, which is kind of like what we're going to talk about some today, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? Well, you won't know until you start back to work. I want to know how that affects you when you go back to work. Do you start getting the tremors? You feel a little nauseous when you gotta lay your phone down?
Maybe. No, I don't know. Realistically, not so much. I don't think, because I don't necessarily use my phone as much as I do just watch, like, I watch the news a lot. So between,
I'm sorry.
Well, it's either that or like, there's really not a whole lot that's on television that I'm interested in. Like, I used to watch a lot of History Channel, a lot of like Travel Channel and stuff like that.
So you like Bigfoot and aliens?
And that was just it. That's all it is now.
Right.
So back, a few years ago, they actually had some pretty good programming on there.
Right.
But it's just kind of dwindled off now to where there's not a whole lot. So, I flip it back and forth between 2 or 3 different news outlets, and then I'll switch over to, Travel Channel or something like that every now and then. But I don't watch a whole lot of things. And then, of course, the TV in the living room stays on either Nick Jr. or Disney Jr. So, yeah, I know. But then again, there's also been like, this is, and we'll talk about this, of course, but YouTube, because they've got there's some programming on YouTube now that is kid friendly. And that is something that Penelope has been really interested in. So, yeah. So I don't think that I will have the shakes whenever I have to go back and lay my phone down, but you never know. I haven't done it yet, so I'll let you know. We'll follow up.
Right. So what we're kind of hinting at here, though, is a phenomenon that's become known as screen addiction. It's something that scientists are starting to throw out there as a possibility. Can people be addicted to electronic devices?
I got to say yes. And here, I mean, when I'm not necessarily, I've not looked at the scientific background, and I you've done the research on a lot of this. I'm just looking as a general, I guess, just common sense. It only makes sense that if you are using something repetitively and it is constantly giving you feedback or fulfilling a quote unquote need in your life, yes, you're going to get addicted to it. You would have to.
Okay.
It only makes sense, right?
It seems like it should make sense, but I don't know. Like, that's the thing. And even scientists there's no consensus on the topic.
Right.
Is it a thing? Is it not a thing? Some people say yes, but some of these same people discredit themselves a bit, in my opinion, because they claim other things. For example, the screen addiction is real,
right? Which
is fine. It's a working theory,
right?
And so they're testing it, and that's how science works.
Exactly.
You come up with a hypothesis. Sorry, it's not a theory; it's a hypothesis. You come up with a hypothesis, you test it.
Yep. You eliminate variables.
You eliminate variables. You try to find out, is this true or not true?
Yep.
And you use the facts to determine your results. You don't use your opinion to influence the facts. The way it's supposed to work is you do the test, you get the data, and you let the data decide whether your hypothesis is true or untrue.
Right.
So what happens to some of these people that are alleging that this is real? They're talking about how these kinds of things affect the mind of the user, which makes sense.
Right.
And this is a thing. So one guy, Dr. Nicholas Kardaras, is one of our country's top addiction experts. And he talks about how video game companies will actively measure, using medical tests, they will measure dopamine and adrenaline levels in their testing phases of their game to try to design the game to increase the dopamine and adrenaline levels, which are the chemicals in your body, some of the chemicals in your body that will your body becomes dependent on those chemicals.
Right. This is the same thing that happens with drug users.
It's the same way like cocaine works.
Exactly. I mean, you're introducing an outside stimulus to get your body to release something, or you're adding that something to trigger those receptors.
So he explains also how he believes that this type of induction of those natural hormones in the body in a younger person specifically. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot, is how this, it's what I'm going to talk about a lot, is how this kind of stuff
mind
affects the developing mind.
Right.
And as I said in the last episode, when I was talking to Mr. Taylor, your brain doesn't fully form until your early to mid 20s.
Right.
That's when your frontal cortex and that's the last part of your brain that really sets in. And that's, unfortunately, that's the part of your brain that also these chemicals have the biggest impact on. So his theory is that, or hypothesis, whatever, I'm not great with science, people. I know a little bit, but not a lot. But these chemicals could stagnate the frontal cortex development.
Basically, I mean, the earlier that you start introducing any type of chemical, such as the dopamines, the endorphins,
right,
the quicker that starts flooding the brain, the sooner that the brain is going to start depending on those things.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what he's saying, right?
Basically, yeah. And he says that he believes that we should allow the brain to fully develop before we start exposing it to these constant barrages of these chemicals, which specifically video games, are designed to be as addictive as possible. Like if you look, one of the best examples of that is WoW.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there were people.
Yeah, they were
losing
basically
their
shutting
jobs.
down their life.
Yeah, they were losing their jobs. They were relationships, everything, just to be in the game. So, I mean, there is some real world examples of how it had a similar effect on people's lives as a hardcore drug,
right? An
addiction kit.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I myself can remember sitting for hours and hours and hours on end with a Super Nintendo controller in my hand playing video game.
Right. But now a lot of those games that were around when we were kids weren't this scientifically, specifically developed.
Right. These were more
to induce these types of.
Exactly.
Right.
I completely understand. They were, I don't want to say a lot more simple, but they were just a lot more, I don't know. They just, like you say, they just didn't have the same research behind them, I guess.
Right. They were just more designed to be fun and challenging,
and
not necessarily that, the game studio wasn't running medical tests to determine the exact levels of hormone that were being induced into your body by playing the game.
Exactly. And the one I think of, the one that consumed so many hours of my life was Legend of Zelda. Loved the Zelda games.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, and it was puzzle based. I mean, so I mean, I guess it was still there though. I mean, you had to have had that same endorphin.
Anytime if you hit a challenging part, when you finally overcome that challenge, you're going to get that sense of accomplishment.
Exactly.
So yeah, of course. But this guy, Dr. Kadaris, does state that he has worked with hundreds of heroin addicts and crystal meth addicts. And he says it is easier to treat a heroin addict than someone who truly has screen addiction.
Really?
That's his claim.
So, that surprises me.
I think a lot of it is, specifically with that example, heroin takes a very obvious physical toll on your body.
It does. And I'm sure that there are chemical ways of alleviating.
You can wean yourself off with what is methadone?
Yeah, methadone.
And that's the treatment. Yeah. So you can wean yourself off with that. And when it's screen addiction, I mean, when are you not around a television, a cell phone, a computer in your day-to-day life?
Right.
I mean,
you're absolutely right.
It's almost impossible to get away from it.
Well, not only that, but what could possibly be the step down? The methadone for the screen addiction. Where do you get, and what exactly are we treating? Is it an endorphin rush? Is it an adrenaline rush? Is it just what exactly is the underlying? I guess you would say the underlying addiction itself that you're trying to bring someone down off of. That would be extremely hard to pinpoint.
Well, I think a lot of it ties back to some other things in this whole screen process, and it's like a constant stimulus. It
Yeah.
it's you never have to think. Right. You're always doing something. It's almost akin to ADHD, where you're constantly doing things, even if it's nothing
If
important.
it's nothing more than just fidgety.
You're just fidgeting. You're flipping through. You're looking through your Facebook feed. You're looking at your Twitter feed. You're just scrolling, looking, clicking, liking.
Yeah.
Just you're checking your likes. You get that, and I think some of that is what affected me a little while ago. I don't know if you remember, but I shut down my Facebook and everything for a while.
That. Yep.
And another person, Johan Hari, calls these Facebook and Twitter and these social media a parody of a genuine connection. And this is something me and Jorge talked about on the last episode, as social animals, we're hardwired to have that interaction with other people.
Interaction. Yeah, you need that. Yeah.
But for what they're finding now is these Facebook and Twitter and all that, it's not
genuine.
It's not genuine. And as that social creature, what we actually need is that face-to-face direct interaction with other people.
I agree.
It's not
100%.
enough to just chat on Facebook or tweet back and forth, that's well and good, but that's not a true social interaction.
Right. No, it's a platform, but not an interaction.
And this is specifically what affected me, and I highlighted this because this is research shows, which, take that however you will, the more Facebook friends you have, the higher your likelihood of being depressed. Because the idea has attributed to the comparison effect is what they call it. You tend to get more down about your life because you're seeing the more idealized images of other people's lives. Because nobody puts on Facebook that their kid puked on them in the face, or
it's not a real world.
They're behind on their house payment and they got a delinquent notice from the bank, or any of that stuff.
No, you see the silver lining all the time.
And that's what affected me a lot. Was I was seeing, and it's not, look, you're my, anybody listening to this, you're my friends, more than likely. I think I pretty much know everybody that listens regularly, that downloads the episodes anyway. So it's not that I'm degrading you or saying bad things about you or saying that saying that you're mean or anything like that. But when that got me, it's just constantly looking at all the great things that were happening for my friends compared to all the crap that was happening in my life. But it's what you're saying.
Because of what you were seeing. Exactly.
But it's what you're seeing it's what they post on Facebook is exactly this. Everybody puts their highlights on social media.
Yeah.
Nobody you got those few people that just drag everything out, but
right, or the ones that are always the Eeyore. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
Nobody said hi.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's those, but you're right. It's most people are going to post the highlights, and and that's what you're right. If you start looking at your life and saying, well, why do I not have the new car?
Exactly.
Why is my kid not getting the award? Why is, my dog didn't, just, learn how to do this or trick or that, or, the new house or the, whatever.
Right.
The vacations, so yeah, you're right. You start seeing those things and you go, wow, everybody around me is in really good shape. What the crap's wrong with me?
Yeah. And especially it's more vulnerable. And this is what happened to me specifically, is you tend to be more vulnerable to these types of feelings if this is pretty much your only form of social interaction.
Right.
Which for a while it was for me. And totally my own fault. I don't blame anybody out there. I had isolated myself. I just didn't go out.
Yourself off.
Yeah. It's all, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. It was all me. I'm past it now.
Yeah.
I feel I'm moving in a positive direction now.
Absolutely.
But that's what happened. And so these are some of the ways that I can speak from experience that, can have an impact on you.
It can. Absolutely, it can.
So I believe in some of this stuff, but there's some of this other stuff in here that some of these people say, the same people that I've been citing, talk about how video games create violent people and stuff like that.
I don't
and so
agree
there's
with that.
there's some breaks in that with me because I've played video games my entire life. I played violent video games my entire life. I've never even been in a fight.
Right.
I don't feel violent urges. Yeah, I get angry. Everybody gets angry, but I've never.
You don't want to go out and take
I've
out
never,
a mini mall.
I've never been like, oh, this is just like GTA. I'm just going to go run over 20 people on the sidewalk. No.
I think that I honestly have to say that I think they're on to something whenever they say that there are underlying mental issues with people that do things like that. And I can see with someone that does have some sort of a mental issue, maybe seeing the graphic violence on a video game might help to desensitize them to it some, but not necessarily trigger it. You know what I'm saying? It's not the push to get them out the door.
Yeah.
I think it's just that, okay, they see it and they go, okay, well, when they do actually act on an impulse that was already there, not because the game instilled it in them.
Right. And I'm not even sure about that. Like they say that video games desensitize people to that.
So do movies and things of that nature, right?
I mean, that's been the allegation for decades. In the 20s, 30s, 1920s, 1930s, they were saying that books were destroying the children of the time because they were reading and they weren't getting out and doing things. And today we look at books and say they're wonderful.
Right.
It stimulates the imagination and all this stuff. So I think it may just be
just the individual.
Again, well, not just the individual, but it may be a societal shift that, and it's something I was kind of hinting to in the last episode with Jorge, is like, it may just be that the older generation just doesn't fully understand this new form of media.
Okay.
And, they're saying it's bad for the kids.
Okay, I can see that.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, maybe 50 years from now, we'll look back and go, could you believe they thought video games were causing violence? I mean.
So think about it this way. Okay, just what was it, a few weeks ago, whenever we had Mark Zuckerberg sitting on the Hill with all of these senators that were asking him all of these crazy, crazy, crazy questions, and not a single one of them was able to necessarily ask either the proper question or possibly even not even just the proper question, but they were not understanding the language he was using. They were completely disconnected from the root problem or the root issue, and they were asking these questions that in their mind was relevant, but was so far away from the reality that like Facebook or social media or something like that uses. And you're right, they just did not understand. The disconnect was there, Right. So I mean, it could be something as simple as that. You're right that this older generation that is making these claims is just not understanding, or they're just making an assumption, but not fully understanding, I guess, the context or the.
Well, and I think that's a lot of it. Like, I'm not trying to make brash statements of scientific fact. Right. Nobody really knows yet. These types of devices haven't been around half of our lifetime.
You're absolutely right.
Nobody knows exactly how they affect people. I mean, they could be having a terrible impact on everyone, not just kids.
True.
And I know from personal experience that this type of stuff this type of physical and just the technology itself has had a negative impact on me.
So you saying that, not just necessarily children. One of the things that I have seen here recently is talked about the dangers of distracted parenting. We're talking about a lot of times, a lot of this episode or a lot of this topic, we're talking about kids, but the other side of that is parents. When we as adults are so engrossed in social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, just flipping through a news feed even, we are losing a connection with our kids even. Because, I mean, I can my wife and I have had this discussion. We need to put the phone down when Penelope is around. And the reason being is you lose or you miss small cues. And like our parents, I mean, whenever your mom says, I know you were lying because I can just look at your face and knew it. Here's the thing. Can parents do that now? When they look at their kid, do they really have they built that type of rapport with their children? Even if the kids are not necessarily on the devices all that much, are the parents on the devices too much?
Now, see, that's interesting. That's something I never even considered.
So, I mean, it's and like there's research going on right now. I mean, the article that I had pulled up was from the Atlantic. It's the dangers of distracted parenting. It's a real thing that they're looking at. Because the kids' developing brain, they're pulling cues from you. They're learning from you all the time. They're little sponges. So what you're doing is showing them this is the way life is. This is the way you interact. And if you're constantly, if this is the phone or the tablet or whatever is more important than that person standing there, they're learning that. Poor little Penelope the other day, and I don't want to say poor little Penelope because she's brilliant. I love her. She's awesome. But Mom said, watch this, and I didn't even hand her the phone, but she just turned it around to her. She hit YouTube. She scrolled and found the video she wanted, hit it, and then turned the phone sideways to make it full screen. She's 18 months old.
Now, where did she learn this?
Obviously, she's learned it from watching us. But
how does she?
She knows.
She can't.
She knows that YouTube is where she finds. There's, like I was saying earlier, there's a couple new little programs on there. One of them is Dave and Ava. It's like these little nursery rhymes and things like that. And another one is Super Simple Songs, which it's colors and counting and things, alphabet and stuff like that. And she loves these things. But she is now associated the YouTube icon with those things. And where we've searched those so much, they pop up in our feed instantly. So when she hits that icon, she sees Dave and Ava, the little, or she sees the Super Simple Songs, and she'll scroll to find. She doesn't necessarily know which one. She just finds the picture. That was my
thing. I was like,
she finds the picture she likes the look of, and she'll hit that and then turn it sideways, and then she'll sit there and watch.
See, that was my thing. I was like, how does she know which specific video she wants? Like, does she start singing the song, scroll to the thing, find that song, and play it?
No.
So she just finds the channel.
Well, I mean, like I say, there's a bunch of the videos that are
I got you.
And she'll just go through and she'll find the one that she likes the looks of. There's 2 or 3 of them that she goes to more readily than the others. So but
so she recognizes the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay. She recognizes the characters in the thumbnail.
Yes.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's interesting, though, talking about how it affects the parents' interactions with the children. See, I never would have considered thinking of it from that angle. I was just thinking about the direct impact this type of thing would have on the individual using the technology.
Right.
So that's interesting.
The thing is it's a web. That's what we all are. And our interaction. Are you saying
that I could be Neo?
You absolutely. You are. I think you are. I mean, I'm going to say you're the one. But anyway, so what I'm saying, though, is every interaction that we have affects every other interaction.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're interacting with these screens, if we're interacting with this social media or whatever, that means that some other interaction that we either could be having or should be having is being affected. So, yeah, I mean, there are ramifications that we do not know yet from all of this.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm interested to see where it goes in the future.
I am too.
Truly interested.
I'm interested and a little cautious because, I mean, like you say, we don't know. Fortunately, society is moving to a more interconnected world, and I think that because of that, having some of this fundamental knowledge is going to help later generations. But I also have to say, what are we doing? Are we separating ourselves socially from one another when we do this?
Well, I think we are right now, but I think if you look at trends currently, not just in everything else, but for example, in my own personal social life recently, some friends of mine have started inviting me over for a board game night.
Right.
I've got the friends that I play online on the consoles with.
Right.
But I've got these other friends that call me up every once in a while. I was like, hey, come over. We're having actual people in the same location, and we're going to play board games.
Yeah. See, that's that face-to-face interaction, though.
But if you look at the industry, that's really picking up. Like board game sales, card game sales are really starting to go on the rise. People are preferring to spend more time in person with their friends, and it's not just a trend in social life. Look at like farmers markets and things like that.
Oh yeah,
where everybody's trying to support the local community and get back in closer to your physical interaction.
You remember the episode a few episodes back where you were talking about the housing where you had like the little pods.
Oh yeah, like the adult dorms.
Yeah. Something like that would be awesome for specifically that face-to-face social interaction.
Right. And that's kind of seems to be where we're realizing that this is leading the wrong way possibly, and just the ramifications of this kind of isolation and trying to go back to that. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like people seem to be trying to go back to a more face-to-face social interactive.
That's good.
I think so too.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good because that's something that we've really been losing a lot of.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt. And I think if another possible like mental effect of this is like the echo chamber that you get from social media, because you only follow people that have the same opinions that you do, and a lot of that is anonymity.
The anonymity,
that's the word. The anonymity that is provided to you on the internet causes a lot of people to be more aggressive than they would be if you were in face-to-face conversation.
I can see that, but now let me argue the other direction on that really quickly. And here's what I'm going to say is, on one hand, you do have that anonymity where you can say things that normally you wouldn't. But I think in certain situations, I'm going to use myself as an example here. There are things that I want to say that I can't because of my job.
Right. No, I totally get that.
Yeah. So
but I'm just talking about like people are much more hostily confrontational on the internet than I would say most people. I mean, some people are just jerks.
Right.
But most people are going to be a lot more, potentially going to be more openly hostile on the internet than they would be in a face-to-face conversation where somebody could just sock you right in the nose if you call them
politically charged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, specifically, exactly.
Yeah, politically charged banter is the big one.
Right.
So, yeah, that one is huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, people say a lot of crazy stuff and I don't want to say crazy stuff. Let's just say that they voice their opinions a lot more loudly than they would if they were saying.
Like the prime example in the news right now is what is that crazy guy's name? Alex Jones. You've been watching
Alex
the news,
Jones,
right?
Alex Jones,
InfoWars.
Yep, the guy that's been banned.
He's been banned from YouTube, everywhere but Twitter, basically.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed on the radio anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I don't know anything about him.
Said. I don't know either.
I know he's political.
Yeah.
Most of his stuff is politically charged.
I think he does a lot of conspiracy theories as well.
Yeah, he was the one with the AbFab or what was that thing?
Antifa.
Yeah, that's it. That's that word.
Antifa. Yeah.
He was the one of the big ones on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to slam it, but I'm just saying, to me, that's a prime example of what this kind of, like he started off with like a podcast, right? And picked up popularity and got a radio show, and it led more and more. And
then he has his own website, on his own news outlet type thing, and then he started using social media platforms for all of that.
And now he's in trouble for some of the things he said, because he said things that are blatantly untrue, knowing they were untrue, which has incited other people to take action, which you cannot do.
Right.
Just like it's against the law, and
to
people
yell fire in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. People. That's the exact example I was going for. People are trying to say it's his First Amendment rights. Well, when your speech leads to direct hostile action or a negative impact on another human being or whatever, there are repercussions for that.
Exactly. You have to. I love freedom of speech, but there's also a responsibility of what you say.
Right. And people are trying to say that his First Amendment rights are being violated. And I'm sorry, people. Once again, I've said this before. They are not being violated. As of right now, the federal government is doing nothing. Facebook, YouTube, these are all private companies, and they can allow people to say or not say whatever they want on their platforms.
Because it's theirs.
It is their platform.
Yes.
It's not the government, so has nothing to do with his Bill of Rights violations.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yep.
that's enough of that. but I'm just saying, like there are these examples in the real world.
You're right.
Where it happens.
Okay, so another thing that's out there then that we've not really touched on is what about the physical ramifications of screen, like using devices and screen time,
Right.
Because I mean, there's obviously a lot of research that's being done, that's going on, looking at how does this affect our brain, but how does this physically affect us, like our motor skills, vision, speech, all of these things. There's research out there that suggests also that there are problems that we are starting to see specifically from
Without
using these devices.
Yeah.
I was thinking one of them that I was reading about, this has been probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, is a new form of almost like carpal tunnel syndrome that's in the joints of the thumb.
Specifically in the thumbs, yeah.
Because of using...
Caused by texting
text
on
messaging,
smartphones.
yeah. So there are physical things, not to mention vision issues, where you're focusing so closely.
Right. It can cause the blood... It actually can cause the blood vessels in your eyes to
expand.
malform.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. It can affect your ability to concentrate.
Yeah.
Now, they say this in an article here. It's not true. A human being cannot multitask. It's impossible. You can only do one thing at a time. But children become better at rapidly switching. I'll say that. They become better at rapidly switching between tasks. But they decline in the ability to focus on one thing.
Which is that not textbook ADHD?
Yeah, well, it can ADHD.
Is that not just a attention deficit disorder, so where you're constantly going and moving between things constantly?
Yeah, but instead of being, I think ADHD is involuntary, where this is more of a learned, ingrained trait.
Okay, so do you feel like that ADHD possibly could be a learned disability?
I think you can ingrain those types of behaviors, but I think there is truly like a distinction between somebody who cannot control it versus someone who has learned to behave in this manner.
So specifically, do you recall back whenever we were in school, do you remember the kid that had ADHD in your class?
I was diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. When I was younger.
How old, if you don't mind me asking? Roughly.
12, 13.
Okay. See, now I don't remember these kids. I remember the kids that were a little hyperactive, but I do not remember the kids that took medication or something specifically because they had ADHD. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, for one, there was no medication then for it.
Right.
Like there wasn't Adderall back then. But yeah, I was diagnosed with it. I did have, I think more of my problem, there's no way to say this without sounding braggadocious, but I think my problem at that point in my school career was I was not challenged by the school.
That's not being braggadocious. That's a lot of schools.
I think our school system was just poor and it wasn't challenging to me, so I didn't pay attention.
Right.
I didn't have to pay attention. I knew what they were saying already.
Yeah.
So I think my ADHD
came from
boredom.
And I can see that. Because I've seen that there's a lot of kids that, I think that are diagnosed that way. And you're right that that's a lot of the underlying thing is they have either learned from an outside source the things that they're being taught in the school, and the school hasn't caught up to them, or, especially the school systems that we have where it's very rigid. You're in kindergarten, you're in first grade,
and you're teaching to the lowest common denominator, unfortunately, in the way our school system works.
Even though we do diversify and we're looking at the full spectrum, there's
30 some odd years ago when I was in school,
true,
like it was, you couldn't leave that one student not comprehending, right?
No child left behind, right?
Exactly. Well, this was even before that.
It was. I remember. Yeah, but I mean that was kind of the idea even before it was there.
Right. Is so they would explain something, boom, I got it, no problem. Okay, we're going to explain it 10 more times.
So that way this guy can get it.
Yeah, we're going to explain it 6 different ways. I'm like, yeah, I understood. I got you the first time.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear this again.
Right.
So I think that was a lot of my problem. But yeah. But they're saying though that this constant, and it ties back to the chemical, the constant hits of dopamine and adrenaline, and they get used to switching and doing this and doing that and doing something different, and it becomes hard to focus on one thing
because they're so used to that constant stimulus.
Right.
And I can see that. I can completely see that. So, I mean, yeah, there are physical issues that we are starting to see specifically from this.
Yeah. And like you're saying, there's narrowed blood vessels in the eyes. They get issues in the joints of their fingers and wrists, which are similar to tendonitis and carpal tunnel syndrome. Yeah. And another big problem is posture.
Oh yeah,
it's a huge problem.
Head down,
forward head carrying.
Yep, forward head carrying.
Yeah, and slumping their shoulders over because you're holding a phone and looking down.
Yep.
So you're slumped over. You got that like 90-year-old man posture when you're 14.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult one to break.
Right.
Like I still slouch.
I think most people slouch, but
well, but
then again, there's when you got a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old that shouldn't be, then yes, there's an issue.
Right.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that between the mental issues and the physical issues, I'm going to say, screen addiction is a real thing. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and go with these guys that are saying that there is a real, if nothing else, need to look into this as a condition. So, yeah,
I think definitely I support further research. I don't want to say one way or another what's fact or not fact, but I would like to see further research on the topics. So far, the science seems sound that there could be an issue here.
Right. Another thing that we've got up here on the grid to talk about today is something that I've been doing a little bit of research in, and kind of looking at even just over the past few years working in the school system and just kind of around kids and things like that, and then just overall general look at society. When we were kids versus today, and that is sterilization of the society. And when I say that, I'm not talking about we're not having kids anymore, not that kind of sterilization.
Although that also is a trend.
Well, it is. But that's a different episode.
The birth rate. Oh, yeah. But the birth rate, not necessarily for sterilization, but voluntarily, I think the birth rate is on the decline.
It's on the decline, yes. No, what I'm talking about is making our society so sterile, so kid glove on user friendly that we no longer have we don't develop the reaction time and don't develop the senses of identifying risk that like you and I had. Remember, I love looking through these Facebook things, and it has like a picture of the kids that are on the old banana seat bicycles with the ape hanger handlebars,
right?
And you have like 7 of them that's there in a little group, and they've got like one of the old jumps that's made out of a piece of plywood and a couple of cinder blocks, and it says, if you did this and survived, like and share, type things. The thing is, we as kids did that kind of stuff. You and I, we did the crazy stuff. And yes, we may have a few scars from it, but the learning the learning process that took place when we were doing stuff like that, I think outweighed some of the risk. And I think a lot of today's society, the things that we have now, it is too, there's been too many risks that are removed from it. Take the playground at McDonald's now. I'm sure you've not been to McDonald's. Like, have you been inside of McDonald's in a long time?
No. Drive through, but not inside.
Okay. So the new ones are so, they're so user friendly. Like the kid, like basically if you fell from the very top of it, what you do is just tumble down, just gradually, like little flip flops until you got to the bottom, and you'd probably come out just fine. Back when in the day, whenever I went to the McDonald's playground, if you fell off the top, you were in a cast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember the big Hamburglar?
Oh yeah,
where you climb up the tower in his head, and you were up in the little observation deck that was his head. Yeah,
stuff like You
fall out of that, you're on asphalt.
Exactly.
Right.
Today, if you fall out of that, you hit a rubberized mat that cushions your fall. It's so that we've removed the risk to the point that kids, I don't know that they're able to develop a sense for knowing when danger really is present. And we've done that across the spectrum. In our homes, there are so many little things now that you can buy to kid-proof your home. Mm-hmm. Locking your cabinets up. You can get the little plugs, things that go in the outlets, the little plastic things that you know.
Right.
You buy the little things that go on the doorknob so that they just spin, so that way the kids can't open the door.
Okay, that's a new one. I've never heard of that.
You've not seen that one? There's, there are all of these things that you do to your home now. Like bookshelves are attached to the walls, and everything needs to be up so high so a kid can't get a hold of it. The thing is that the kid grows up in this world where nothing will hurt them, nothing will harm them, and when that happens, I think that a kid gets a false sense of security that I can go out in the real world, do all of these things that I want to do with no repercussions whatsoever. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. Same thing with outside. You remember the little Tykes cars and stuff like that the little kids had? That little, I don't know, they're like yellow and orange, and the kids can push them. We would ride those things down over a hill. Now, your yards are fenced in. Everything is leveled. Everything is, I think we've just removed the risk to a point that it really, 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 really is harming us. And I don't know. What is your thoughts? Do you think, you can see a difference, obviously, between our childhood versus what the kids have today.
Right. And again, it ties back to what I was talking about just the last episode. There's a lot of continuity here. Yeah. Unplanned continuity. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing where it's participation trophies and don't hurt anybody's feelings and everybody's a winner. And yeah, that's what I was just saying. I feel like, no, kids need to learn failure. They need to learn how to deal with adversity. They need to learn how to overcome obstacles. That sense of, I can do it. I can meet a challenge and overcome it. I don't have to, if the first time I'm challenged, I don't just throw my hands up and quit. Right.
And they need to be able to identify those challenges. Because I think that's a lot of it. We've removed it to a point where, when I say sterilized, I think that we've removed it to a point where they can't even, they come up to a challenge and they don't even know how to approach it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They just quit. They're just like, okay, well, I'm done. This was hard.
Yep. It's terrible. Yeah. It's completely terrible.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Even to the point where, the hand sanitizer everywhere. Anywhere you go now, there's hand sanitizer everywhere. And I can understand, yes, germs are bad. Let's do away with some of it.
Right.
But, even a child's immune system now is weakened to an extent because they're not exposed to the same germs that we were as kids. Point in fact, everybody around me got sick a couple of weeks ago. They had upper respiratory, strep, whatever. I work in a petri dish. I work at a school, so I'm exposed to so many different things. Didn't faze me. Did not faze me whatsoever. So I think that has to do a lot with what you're exposed to, your environment. So yeah, that's it. I think you can go overboard. Is what I'm saying.
I think you can with all things.
Yeah.
I think anything can be taken too far. But what you were talking about earlier, with the, learning and the things in the outlets and the doorknobs, is when you were talking about that, just what popped into my head, I don't know. There's a comedian that was making the rounds a few years ago called Christopher Titus.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember ever seeing any of his stuff or not, but one of his bits was his father was one of those tough guy dads.
Oh yeah.
And he would talk about stuff like, I would be a little kid and, back then we had those TVs that were 300 pounds. And, I'm a kid and I'm like crawling up on top of the TV with tipping and toppling around. And my mom's like, oh my God, Christopher. And my dad's like, wait. He'll learn. So, that's what popped into my head when you were talking about that. So,
and personally, whenever I was growing up, my family was one of those, we had both, like one side of my family, dad's side of the family, he was very, 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 very protective of us. He was to the point where, he needed to know where we were at, what we were doing at all times. Mom, on the other hand, her and her side of the family, like I'll never forget my uncle saying, the way you raise a kid is you hold them by the back of the shirt and you hold on to them just enough so they can rub their nose in the dirt and get their knees scraped just a little bit before you jerk them up and say, now see, didn't that hurt a little bit? So they learn,
Okay, right.
And Dad would have been like, no, he's never going outside anyway to see any of this. So I think that there's a happy medium there. I think that you need to have that happy medium, which is another reason why, like, the other day, I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I think it was Penelope was like climbing around on the couch, and I was like, Ashley's like, get her, she's about to fall, and I'm like, yes, she is, and she'll learn. The floor is going to be hard, but I mean, and she's fallen a couple of times and bounced off the floor, and she cries for a couple of minutes, or not even a couple of minutes. Normally, she hits the floor, bounces a little bit, and she's like, that's terrible, that sucks, and then moves on, and then she doesn't climb back up on the couch for a little bit. So it's one of those things that you learn.
Exactly. It's that wait.
Yeah,
she'll learn.
She's gonna learn. It's okay.
Yeah. And I know I was raised that way quite a bit. No,
wait. He's gonna learn.
Never to the point of like serious injury could have resulted, but take a little tumble, get a bruise. That's how you learn. You learn to adapt, to overcome, to accept these challenges. And I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of that is missing from the maturing process these days.
All right. So you want to hear something that's really cool that I found then?
Shoot.
All right. So this is a New York Times article. This is something that...
liberal media bullcrap.
It is. Absolutely liberal media bullcrap. This is actually this was written by a lady named Ellen Berry, and she is not a New York Times contributor. What they did is they picked this article up from a newspaper in England.
Okay.
And I stumbled across this at the end of last school year, and we were doing writing prompts in my writing class, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to use this one because this is a really good article that'll get the kids to thinking.
Okay.
The name of the article is "In Britain's Playgrounds, Bringing in Risk to Build Resilience." What they're doing is they're reintroducing in certain playgrounds certain levels of risk, so that way kids can learn, they can identify, and they can see these things and go, okay, this can hurt me, or if I did get hurt from this, what did I learn from this? When I say that, like specifically, the little picture here is of a kid, and he's getting ready to jump onto almost like a teeter-totter, like a 2x4 across the block, and he's got a pile of like 6 bricks on the other end of it. And he's like, he's like, I'm going to see what happens here.
Right.
And it says, a boy about to send a pile of bricks flying at the risk-enhanced playground at the Richmond Avenue Primary and Nursery School in Shrewsbury, England.
What was that town?
Shoe, Shoeburyness, Buryness, Shoeburyness.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Derail. Go ahead.
So that's where this is at. Specifically, this is one of the places that it started.
Okay.
It says 4 years ago, the teachers at the Richmond Avenue Primary and Nursery School looked critically around their campus and said about as one of the article or the things that they needed to do was to bring back risk. Out went the plastic playhouses, and in came the dicey stuff. Stacks of 2x4s, crates, and loose bricks. The schoolyard got a mud pit, a tire swing, log stumps, and workbenches with hammers and saws. Says, we thought, how can we bring the element of risk into everyday environment? we are looking at it. Okay. So we've got a sand pit that we can add to the sand pit to make it more. What can we add to the sand pit to make it more risky? Says we have fires, we use knives, saws, different tools, all of this under adult supervision, of course. Indoors, scissors abound, and so do sharp-edged tape dispensers. And I love this quote, and it's in parentheses and quoted. She says, they normally only cut themselves once. They learn. That's the thing, though. They learn.
I guess, yeah.
Says limited risks are increasingly cast by experts as an experience essential to childhood development, useful in building resilience and grit. I have to agree with that statement. And it scares the bejesus out of me to think we have almost an entire generation now where risk has been removed. What is that going to look like when those young people get our age and older? What is our society going to look like when those young people age and are the ones that are actually making the choices for the elderly as well as the young?
Yeah.
And I look at it this way too. I have seen in parenting, it's a pendulum. You go one way, you go the other. My parents were extremely, extremely liberal and let us do anything, and I know what I did, so I'm going to swing the other direction and be conservative and hold my kids down. Then those kids go, my parents held us down. I'm going to swing the other way and let them go out and enjoy life. And then it goes back and forth and back and forth. So I wonder what's going to happen now. Without a society where we have risk.
Right.
And this is happening in other countries. Specifically, the United States is saying no to it. And the reason being is litigation, lawsuits. Yeah. And the research that they are doing here is suggesting, no, we're not going to introduce risk because there's so many adverse effects. But I can't see that. I don't want to for anybody that has seen a movie that just recently dropped, Infinity War. There's a great quote.
No spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
No spoiler.
Okay.
No spoiler. One of the characters says, if you would like, I will help you in this arena. I have experience. The other character says, if you call failure an experience, and the reply was, I call experience. Even failure, even to a point where we have risk and people are allowed to fail, that's still experience, and you've learned from it.
And they say it's one of the best teachers.
The best teachers. If you always win, what do you learn?
Exactly.
What is it they say? Smooth seas never made a good sailor.
Yeah. From video games, I've always heard lose is improve.
Exactly.
You learn from your mistakes.
Hit the reset button. Respawn. Try it differently.
Yep.
A scraped knee is nothing more than a respawn.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. It's been nice being back, dude.
It's been great having you, man.
I can't wait till the next one. Yay,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. So that thought's gone.
That thought's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you or anyone that out there that has anything to add to this conversation, that is, give us an example of some time that risk actually did help you. Give us an example of how screen time has affected you or yours. Right. Any of that kind of stuff. Share that with us.
Yeah,
I will gladly read some stuff on air.
Yeah, definitely love to hear from you.
Just pop it in there. Say, hey, I've got this. I'd love for you to share it, for me, and we'll do that. So, but until then, I guess this is a wrap for an episode, right?
That's it. I
Awesome.
think we're good.
So if you want to find us, we're, of course, on Facebook, facebook.com/2mindspodcast.
Yeah. You can tweet at us over on Twitter at 2mindspodcast.
Shoot us an email, Gmail, 2mindspodcast@gmail.com.
Right. And as always, you can find this and any of our previous episodes on our hosting site, Podbean, at 2minds.podbean.com.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's been nice being back. I'm glad
great
Mr.
having you.
Taylor was able to fill in for me.
Hopefully we can get some more revolving cast members
Absolutely.
in
He
and out.
needs
That'd
to
be awesome.
get back over here because I really enjoyed having him here
Yeah.
the time that he was with us.
So what do you think about the Tullamore?
Dude, that's really good.
Yeah.
Really mild, really mellow.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm working on